couldn't agree more wholeheartedly that he had a style about him that was just so beneficial to the land claims, and of course his role in AFN was pivotal. So,
if I could make a comment, we have had, this is the fourth of the panels we've had with this series of workshops that Irene and Willie have helped organize. Emil was at the first two and played a major part in the panels. Emil, in one of the panels, Willie Hensley was there, talked quite a bit about the early days of the movement and the things that they went through, and some very interesting stories. One of them was how they mousetrapped Wally Hickel and supporting 40 million acres, which is a good one. But I think we have this captured on film, and we're also going to do a little book at the end of this year, which is going to capture some of those stories. So more to come. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other? John?
I want to pick up on what the mayor said. In reading the history of some of the early drafts that kind of began to fold into what became ANCSA, there was one concept of just having one statewide corporation. And I've often wondered, just to myself, and I would like the perspective, I think, of all of you, but particularly you, Senator Bell, what might it have looked like had that become the model and merged as opposed to
it was interesting, and this is the first I heard, or maybe I'd forgotten, about cutting it up between Eben and Emil, and depending on the timing of that probably had an influence of moving away from a statewide organization, since Eben was a very key leader, and obviously Emil was. And so if they brought what they were talking about to Jackson or to our offices or what have you, that would have been enough, because they may not realize it. But when we got the word from various Native leaders, we took it very seriously. This was important, because we were working on an issue that we felt inadequate, morally inadequate in this regard, because we know we're voting and all that, but this is their land, and so just hearing what you said, it hit me immediately, because I was thinking of at the same time as you were, because it started out that Jackson wanted one corporation, then it got whittled down to regions. Well, this probably was injected into everybody's thinking back there, and they said, well, maybe we won't go that, but maybe let's break it up even more so that we can address more the various interest areas, let's say from a tribal point of view, from a cultural point of view. Because, as he pointed out earlier, these are mariners. When you talk about people in the sea, I mean, you go out there in a good sea-going rowboat. These people would go out in skin boats. Now that's mariners. I'm not saying that, but I hope I answered your question. We don't remember everything. That's the whole problem. We can't remember everything. We're getting too old.
I'm just glad that went by the wayside, because we have enough trouble. And I saw Janie Leask here with AFN, and I'm just dealing with our own, and I just imagined a corporation like AFN taking care of all the native. Man, I think we'll be looking for a dividend somewhere.
In fact, we did make a mistake. We had too many village corporations. That should have been handled differently. But we did the best we can, and now it's their issue. It's up to them. And I can't tell you how proud I am about the fact that you've opened up the roles. This is very significant, and I hope it expands.
Well, one of the things in relation to that village corporation comment, some of them have merged.
Yeah, I know that.
Well,
because they were not economically viable, and it sounded great at the time. Everybody's going to have a job somewhere, but because of all these entities. But it was, well, it was overdone. It was just overdone.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to thank the young people, and we actually had a student from UAF who's pursuing his master's up there come all the way down here just to
wonderful.
listen to this. So the opportunity, they're all gifted on the web and whatnot, a lot more than we are. So I just encourage the young ones. I think this is so important. I was glad to see the women that participated. My sister was one of them. And I think something we all realize now is somewhere, somehow, we have to get this story on a classroom level. And I'm particularly hopeful that the story gets told of the challenges of those Native leaders, of what they had to deal with to get where they are in a totally alien, mostly totally alien culture, and get what we are today. And I'm still amazed that they had the wherewithal to...
Well, I want you to know on behalf of the journalists of Alaska, they've been trying, but it's very hard to find stuff like that.
So it's
Anyway,
amazing.
I wanted to let you all know, since we were winding up here, that there are future panels coming. This is sort of the last one for this season, and we're taking the summer off so Edward can go hunting. But in August 12th, it's the Howard Rock Gala, and then we'll have the Native Corporation outcome, and challenges in entering the global market will be in September. In November, what's next? And then in December, of course, the 40th anniversary celebration will be over at APU on the passage of ANCSA. So stay tuned for more information as it becomes available.
That got my attention.
So,
I know I just recently started getting involved with the Native Emerging Leaders Forum, and I just heard that they had a discussion about ANCSA in the past 40 years, and they're going to come together again and talk about the next 40 years. So what do you guys hope for or see or want for the future of ANCSA?
okay, the question is, what do you visionaries see as the
This is what I see. This is I see their own leadership coming forward, and with great sophistication. I see Willie Templeton up there, what he's doing with students. I see the future of the Native community as human beings realizing their vision and having a vehicle with which to do it with, which is the native land claims and the corporations and the wealth that it brings together to be able to use it for their benefit. There's been some hiccups, but this is great. I can't tell you. I feel very proud of a role in it because it's been overwhelmingly successful. And there were a lot of naysayers that, oh, the natives can't handle it. They've handled it well. And when you hear his level of sophistication and leadership, you can just read right inside of that because you know what it takes to do that. And to see that he started as a roustabout. Well, I started as a cab driver. so, you know, anything is possible with human beings to realize their own potential. And that's where education comes in. And that's where knowledge of history comes into education.
And I want to defer to our historian, Mr. Roderick.
And mayor.
Yeah, he was, but not still a mayor.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The answer to your question is it's up to the natives.
Well, I'm intern right now at ASRC Energy Services, and I grew up in there, born and raised there. So I hope to be one of those people or help continue keeping ANCSA strong and keeping our relays together.
And you will be, because you demonstrated an attitude
I
that
can promise you, you will be a leader.
I just, and I just comment on this, and I appreciate you being here. And I've heard of the emerging leaders session, and part of the strength of our culture is what knowing what we call your roots, your Hmongu. If you don't know where you came from, you can't really get started on knowing where you want to go. So in that sense, I think this is very important, and I realize now personally that I understand now what Charlie Kinnevel from was saying, that his grandkids are losing this. This story needs to get told, and you need to see firsthand of those leaders that are still here. A good portion of them have gone away. One thing that Senator Mike mentioned was Joe Ukpesan, well known in our region, very key in sticking to the resolve to move forward behind the scenes. He was working hand and foot. You could always see.
He was tireless.
But Joe Ukpesan, in his way, was the guiding force, and the first president of ASRC, and could have been the first mayor, but he chose to be where there was, and those, the gentleman that made a comment of people that don't get recognized properly because or at the level I think they should, and where, you know, my daughter asked me once, where did all this land claims start from on the Native community? Who started this? You know, because she was so amazed of where we are, and I said, you know, I really don't know, but I do know it started at a kitchen table in some families' homes, and in our region anyway, with women involved. And they said, let's do this. We need to form this, and that's where it came from, as people just coming together and recognizing this is important. And again, I'm just amazed at the foresight and the determination they had to get us where we are, considering everything was new, huh? Never been tried before. All totally new frontier. They say Alaska was the last frontier. This is all new. So for the next 40 years, I think this hangs out the last 40. Is a great lesson, and I would encourage you to involve your students, because that's where it's at, and I wish you well.
There's a lot of interesting stories out there, and one of the things that came out during the Women Behind ASA panel was all of the work that people had to do to raise money just to keep traveling back and forth, and the bake sales, and somebody got a second mortgage out on their home. I mean, people did amazing things, you know, to keep the fight going, in addition to, you know, some big money coming from different groups. Tim, did you have something you wanted to add?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's always good.
I see 'em.